Start is from the beginning to the end means from the beginning of when I started Minecraft to the end, which was when I quit and came back. My friend hit me up that he lived like 400 miles away from me, and he was like, "Hey, let's play Minecraft." And I was like, "Nah, I'm good off Minecraft, man. I hate that game." He's like, "Have you ever played it?" And I was like, "Nah, I've never played it." He's like, "All right, well, you gotta play it." So he actually gave me his account. We went on this whitelisted townie server, and I think I played it for like a month. Played it for a month, and that's how everyone starts. They start playing on a server like of some big server owner, and they start getting the gist of it. They start liking what they're playing, and they see, hey, people are donating, maybe I can do this too. So you go, you create your local host, whatever thingamabobber, and you put all these free plugins together, and you try to make a server, and you host it on your IP. You tell all your friends that you met in your servers and factions and all that stuff, and you invite them, and then it's like 2 players for like 2 days, and then it just dies. And that's what happened to me too. Like, that was 2013. It happened, it died. So I just went back to playing factions. There's someone in here named Knack and Compensated. I think I've played factions with them for the past 3 years. Like, they're one of the first faction people I met too. Everyone starts like that. That's how I started. And so when I moved from there, I started meeting more people, and I started playing more servers. So I played servers like Battle PvP, Fear PvP, Fate Factions, PvP Nation. Like, these are all servers that were like really good at the time for their factions. And once you start meeting more people, you start getting more connections. And I got a guy who eventually lived near me. He lived like, I want to say 30 minutes away from where I was going. He wanted to start a hosting company together. So this was like 2013, end of it, and I was like 14 years old, and we had all these plans. We created Google Docs. He was like 14, I was 14. We were talking about, we're gonna call it Detra Hosting. So we got all these plans together. We planned it out for a week. We had all the pricing. We had where we're gonna get the Deddy from, who the system admin was going to be, because we had no idea how to do any of that stuff. And we came up on a guy named Ben Ransom. Ben Ransom, he was actually our hosting provider. I think he was a really big hosting provider on MC Market back in 2014 until I got him banned. So we made a deal with him for like $200 or $300. He was going to create, a hosting company for us. And back in 2013, he agreed, like, for $200 or $300, he was going to create us a hosting company. So he was going to put a site together. He was going to put like the WHMCS. He was gonna, put all of it together so we could start reselling. All we had to do was basically get clients. It happened, and I gave him the money that I scrounged around. I'm talking about, like, this was my hard-earned money. I was like 14 years old. I had no job, no nothing. That was all my money. It took like a month just to put together a website, and I was like so pissed too, because he would give me updates every 5 days, and he gave me some updates. More pissed, and I told my friend, like, hey, let's do this ourselves without him. He's like, sure. One of my cousin's husbands, he worked at Cisco, and he was like a marketing guy, and then he was like, okay, I'll throw in 2K if you can get all this together, because what we were putting together sounded pretty good. And so he was like, okay, just get your friends, put in 2K too, and we'll get a good plan going. And so I told my friend, and my friend originally agreed, like, he would throw in like 3K if I could get that 3K too. And no, this not 2K18. This was like 2013. And when I came back to him, I was like, okay, he's gonna throw in that money. He was like, sure, all right, I got you. It came down to actually like buying all the stuff. And this guy, I hit him up. I was like, all right, I need your half. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he just went on this rant about how he didn't have the money. He thought I was gonna pay for everything. He was just gonna like help out and blah blah. So like, you can understand my confusion there and like my anger, because at that point it was like 4 or 5 months in, and we already went through all this processing and like planning and like all this scamming with the Ben Ransom guy. So I was pissed, and that Ben Ransom guy ended up using that money that I gave him for his own hosting company to redesign it all the way I told him to design my site. So that all happened. Then I created a scam report on him. He like forged documents saying I signed them. It was pretty crazy. Probably one of the craziest scam reports you'll ever see if you want to search it up. Like, he's forged stuff with my signature, and I still won it because the scam report guy wasn't stupid. And that was back when other people could comment on your scam report without the moderator like taking all of it away. So I probably had like 10 or 15 other people comment on it, and they were all like, posting their own versions of the forged documents, saying, hey, I can do that too easily, and it was the same font and everything. So I won that guy got blown away, and I lost that guy that I've been working with for the past 6 months. Not only did I lose $300 I had, but I lost a partner, I had no hosting company, no nothing. So this is 2013, nothing. Or no, 2014 now, nothing. How do you type his name? His name is Ben Ransom, Ben space RANSOME, Ben Ransom. And he was the original guy that opened up an MC Market competitor when I got him banned. So he was, I think I'm trying to remember what the name was. I think it was like MC Mart or something like that. But him and Ark were like the original guys. Ark ended up shutting his down because he got too much into hacking. He hacked a lot of people. That's the only reason he's not banned from MC Markets, because he's a big time black hatter. I decided to do what I did with Minecraft. So that's how I first started it. I was like, man, I'm just going to recruit a bunch of these random dudes, and I'm just going to sell their services for them and take a percentage. So back in 2014, I recruited 1 developer, 2 builders, 1 web dev. I got them a bunch of commissions. Like the first commission, like back then, commissions were so much more high quality. Like you could go to some random guy, and for a small thing, he paid $300 for a plugin. So we got that going, and my developer was cool. It's the one I still work with today, Ollie, the one I've met in real life. That's how it all started. I got him a $300 commission. He gave me 120. I gave him 180. Plugin was garbage at that time, honestly, now that I look back on it, but the client was so happy with it. That was that. The 2 builders, I don't even think they mess with Minecraft anymore. I got them some commissions, and the web developer, I got him a commission. Yeah, actually that was it, just the 4 guys. And that's how I started that. Like I just started making some money, and I think I made like $300 or $400, and I met someone on there, another Java developer that I was trying to recruit so I could have more Java devs because more commissions were coming in. And his name was Ethan Fine. Ethan Fine, also known as Yusuf0. He was actually the head developer on Meepcraft back at the time when it was running like 500-600 players. So right now it's dead. It's completely dead. But back then it was one of the greatest servers, like minigame servers that were smaller. Compensated and Knack both know him. He scammed me, but I'm gonna go into that story now. So this was my second project. This was like the big one. So I called him up, offering him a deal like, hey, I can recruit you, get you some commissions, and I'm gonna take a little percentage. He's like, yeah, for sure. And then he's like, who are you? And I'm just like, oh, I just on some servers before. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you know a lot about it? And we talked a little about it, and we got into a deal where this is 2014, I had no money at that time. He said he would throw on 5,000. He would develop a lot of stuff. I would have to tell him what to do. I would have to do everything else, like the server side setups, all that, get together all the graphic designers, builders, and he would do his part, and we'd split it. And he said, the only thing I ask you is that you let me get my money. You'll still get a percentage, but you let me get my money up until I make my money back. And that's a really great deal. Like, that's a really great deal. And I was like, sure. So we went through the process. He lived in Costa Rica. I think we video chatted all the time. We even compensated on here. Video chatted with him a couple times. He was like a cool dude with me up until a certain point. So we developed a server together called Hyperbian. It got really big. I got it big twice, I want to say. I thought of the name, I got the logo guy who I was good friends with. We got everything together. It took probably 3 months of development. 3 months, I'm talking about, like, we had 2 custom game modes called Infected that no other server had at the time. We had Laser Strike that no other server had at the time. And we had a better spin-off of Sky Wars, but that's when Sky Wars was at its peak. And we also had factions for like that regular game mode. So we released without ads. I had a guy who had YouTube contacts, so I messaged him. We got in contact with Vicstar, Preston, and Woofles. We got 1 video each from them. The day all of the videos released, everything changed. Like I had a contract with this guy signed too, so I'm talking Deddy changed the password, domain. I mean, talking to like emails, everything. Like I come on and I just ask him like, what the hell happened? He's like, nah, you're gonna try to steal my investment. I'm like, everything was going good. Why would I try to steal it? Like, I'm not that type of person. And I don't know, like it just happened out of nowhere. And so I hit him up. I was like, I'm gonna just be talking to lawyers, like, screw you. He scammed me out of 4 months of work. I worked on the server every single day for 4 months. Not even lying. Like I came home from school, worked on it, went to sleep working on it, went to school, like woke up, went to school, came back. Like that was after football season. I didn't have any football. I had nothing to do. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on this, it's gonna make a lot of money. This fool takes away everything. The videos came out, I don't know, problems were happening. Compensated was on the server. I was like banned in every single form. He was on the server when it released. They got a couple hundred players, and then it died like a week after because the server had so many problems and he wasn't doing anything about it. Like, he didn't even know how to fix it because I was doing everything at the time. That's the point where that's why you guys see me do so many scam reports on people. That's why I help so many people with scam reports, or that's why I help people against scammers in general. It's just because I've been scammed so much at that point that 2 times, like first it was all of my money, which was $300 at the time, and so I had nothing. And then after that, it was all my time, like 4 months of my work. And how can you do someone dirty like that? 4 months of their work, and you can just do them dirty. So after that, I was like, whatever. So after that, I told my dad what happened, and believe it or not, this guy, he like trusted me, he believed me and everything. He gave me a $300 investment, and he said, take this money, do what you can, and like try to make money off of it. And yeah, my dad knows that I messed with all this stuff on the internet. And so Commentator was there, Knack was there when I created this new server called Warfine. I think this day I bought the domain, a bunch of like contractors contacted me thinking it was like some war company for like arms dealing, because I got so many of those emails. But it was really weird. But I created a server called Warfine. It was a regular faction server, 1 game mode. I wanted to focus solely on that because that was my strongest game mode. I made the server. I found an advertising method, like a secret one that I haven't told anyone yet, and it's basically free. And when I did it, I got the server up to 40 players in less than a month. I want to say, like, I put everything I could into that server. I went the cheapest route I could. I went and I got a Warzone from probably one of the best builders just to make the Warzone great. And the Warzone at the time cost me $30, which is crazy because now I'm paying like $80 for a Warzone for the same thing, but it's whatever. $30 for a Warzone, paid $45 for the spawn non-exclusive, which I still remember. This was 2 years ago. I still remember all this. This is 2015. I bought Ollie was my developer still. He agreed to make a bunch of plugins for me for free until the server started making money. We got 40 players. I was at Six Flags here in California when football season was starting. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to manage a server, but at that time there was like no professional managers and stuff. No one like I knew could manage the server, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna sell it. I'm gonna call it like, take like a month or two, like 3 months break while football season was going, and then I was gonna come back. So I hit up this guy. The server made like $400 by the time I got the 40 player base. Hit up this guy named Dark Day, and I posted on MC Market like, hey, I want to sell the server. It's made this much as a 40 player base. And still, like, this is why I hate MC Market or just Minecraft people in general, is they're bashing the fact that it has 40 players and it's made $400. Like, why are you bashing it? Like, what do you get out of bashing it? Like, so many people just bashed it for no reason, which made no sense because it was still bigger than most of their servers and it was still making more money than most of their servers. But, you know, it is what it is. So I sold the server to someone for like $800. My PayPal was locked at that time, so I had to go through my developer's PayPal, Ollie. I trusted him like pretty good, so I let him take it. I gave him all the info, blah, blah. I want to say 2 weeks down the road, he resold the server and he charged back on my developer. So we lost the entire $800 negative in his account. He was like freaking out too because there was debt to collector messages because we didn't pay for like a month. Because we had no money. Like, we had the $400 which was locked in my other account, and then we had the $800 that was locked in that account, or negative in that account. So I was like, man, what the hell? I was like, I didn't even have a partner and I still got screwed over this time. I created a new PayPal. Well, actually I used my dad's name this time, and his account was like 12 years old, so I never lose any chargebacks anymore. I don't lose anything with that account. Like, they don't even question that account anymore. My developer, that's why I respect him so much to this day, is because at that time he took care of half that money. He went out of his way. He went and got like a construction job, and he paid half that money. He paid $400. I paid him the other $400 once I got it back from the other account. You gotta find respectable people like that. Like, no one these days are gonna take a hit for you like that, especially at a time that you're so low, like you have no money. So now, you know, I can pay him off, yeah, but it's like, back then, it's like, damn, dude, like, thanks, man. Like, what else can you say besides thanks? Like, it's just such a great move that someone could do. And that's why, like, up to this day, like, I met him a couple months ago here in California. Like, we hung out. That's pretty good. Like, we got plans to work together in the future. But besides that, like that's another story. Like that's how I got screwed over. So that was Warfine. Warfine ended up being sold to like 10 other owners, became like a HCF server. I don't know, all that stuff. But once this stopped, I was like, man, what the hell? And a part I really forgot to mention was my old ex-owner, while I was still finding lures and stuff, came back to me. Ethan Fine, like the Hyperion guy, he came back to me. He's like, hey man, look, I screwed up. I don't want the domains anymore. You can have everything. Just don't sue me. He literally said that all in game. I was like, what the hell, are you serious? I was like, I want the files too, because the files are worth a lot. And so he's like, all right, I need your SSH key. At that time, I had no clue what an SSH key was. So I was like, no, I don't know. I'm not giving that to you, because I thought he was going to like hack me or something. So he sent over the domains. He gave me the logo and everything. I just stopped talking to him. Now I remember this January 2016 Hyperion releases, and I think I got like 20 players on release for the faction server, and I slowly made money. I think I made like $300 that first month, and then the second month, this is when I first got a deady. This is when like I had so many problems. Like I went through all that everyone else goes through. Like I had the problems of like, how does this deady even work? How does Linux work? Like how do I start a server? I had to contact like 20 different system admins before one finally hit me up and told me everything. I finally got the server up, put all the files in, started using FileZilla, not that multi-crap. And I think 2 months into the server, I finally had more players. I actually ended up going to the back of .org and looking at all these servers that were posting their servers and spamming it. And I was watching a server that had like 30 players, and I went and I joined that server with one of my friends. I think it was Compensated actually, or it was Ollie. And I asked the guy, can I buy your server? And he sold me his 40 player based server for $200. I still remember that to this day. He sold me for $200. All I did was forward his domain to my server. I ended up getting like 80 players that day. It slowly died down because a lot of them hated it. I made most of them staff too, like the old staff, because I didn't want the players to leave. But what do you know, like most of them started abusing, started muting every player they could. Like a lot of them just started like advertising, and it was whatever. And the owner actually ended up refunding me. I still kept the domains. A lot of the players like ended up staying, like 15, 20 players stayed. That's when I met someone called Linear Logic. He became like a big investor name, even though he screwed everyone over. He didn't actually give them the investment. He gave me a $400 investment. One of my players gave me $400 too. Like a random player, he said, I'll give you $400, like just get the server bigger. That's $800 from them. I had like another, I think, 1K in donations at that point. This was 3 months grind. 3 months, I didn't spend any of that money. I had $800 from those two guys, $1,000 from like the server in general. That's $1,800. And I swear to God, like by the will of God, some random person joined my TeamSpeak while I was in with a bunch of players, and he said, hey, are you the owner of the server? And I said, yeah. He said, look, can I talk to you? So we talked in a private channel, because I always help players out. And he said, hey, I own a server called Host.im. I still remember the name. And he said, I don't have enough money for the full slot, but I want to get an MCSL slot, and I want to split it with you. He said, you got the money? And I said, yeah, I actually do. So we split it. He got the first 2 weeks. I got the second 2 weeks. We peaked at 150 players with the 10th slot. We won it for like 3.8K or something like that. And at that time, we paid it directly to the server listing owner. Like we didn't pay each other the money. So he got like, I want to say he peaked at 60. I peaked at 150. This was with the 10th slot. I have no clue how, but like this was 2016 beginning. There was more like players on that site coming in. And essentially where I started getting bigger, like that's where my uprising came. Then football season was coming back, and I was trying to focus on scholarships and stuff, and the server was getting big, and then it slowly started dying down. I didn't have too much time for it, so I ended up selling that for a few grand to someone who ended up scamming me later on. And George Housley's banned on MC Market 2 now, and there was no managers at that time. 2016, the beginning, like you didn't know any good managers. They were all contracted in servers. They didn't mess with MC Market. Like 2016, I think we had like still 15,000 members compared to like 60,000 that are on now. And at that time, more scammers. It's still like those big, higher, whatever, reputable guys, you could say, were scammers. Like one of my friends, who I thought was a friend, he had a bunch of reactions, all that stuff. Like he had more than me, and he ended up scamming for a CSGO knife. Like who does that? It's a CSGO knife. And that's why I got lost respect for most of the community. That's why I don't trust anyone, and that's why I always do contracts for everything. From there, I sold that server, and I found out that my school like program wasn't starting for another month, so I was like, hey, let me just start another quick like burner server. So started a quick burner server, bought half a slot for it with the same guy that I bought half a slot with last time. I got like 100 players, made my money back plus profit, then I shut that server down. That was Demery, the one I was trying to sell, and that's just because I don't need that server. And it just went on from there. Like from there, I started locking in like $20,000 contracts with guys who sound like Hyteria. Compensator was there too. That fool was weird. Fell in love with the staff member, but that's Minecraft. Like, it's full of weirdos. You just gotta grind. You can't give up. Like, you can see me, like, I got scammed, but you start your own path and you start building that up as much as you can. And even when it's low, you just gotta keep grinding on it. So if you have a server, if you have a business, if you have whatever, like with Minecraft, I didn't get everything right at the beginning. You gotta start at the bottom, work your way to the top, just like everything else in life. And I worked all the way until 2017, and I did that thing alone with my Java developer, and we still hit Prime MC and all them guys. Like, I remember I was chilling at my uncle's house, you know, using my laptop, and Prime MC's owner hit me up, and he's like, hey, I need a server set up for me. I was like, sure, man. And then, you know, this other guy hit me up, and I ended up charging him like up to $1,000. But besides that, it's just like, don't give up on your servers, don't give up on your business, don't try to make enemies. So don't go bashing people, don't go, like, I didn't do that. I didn't go trying to make enemies. People came to me trying to make enemies with me just because my service became better, and my server became better. Like, I didn't go out there trying to fight people. The only thing I ever did was call out people who were trying to scam. And you can see that too. Like, if you ever went under my like recent posts, all you see would me be like, hey, wasn't the server that stole all that stuff? Or like, hey, aren't you that guy that did that? And 90% of the time it's true, and you see them banned like a week later. So I always call out what I see. Call out any fakeness you see. I gave up on all my servers. My semi-successful one ended up dying with my partner disappearing on me. Yeah, don't rely on other people. I think that's one thing I've learned is most people end up relying on me for things. So that's why I've decided, like, I'm done with partners unless they can offer me something. So usually, if you want to partner with someone just because they can offer you something you don't have, or something you could just use because you don't want to use it yourself. So if it's like, most of the time for me, it's just like, man, I don't even want to spend that money, so I'll just let this guy come in and spend like that much money, and he can come in and partner. And mostly, like, they're using all my connections. Like, I have all the YouTubers, builders, designers, all that. Like, he doesn't know any of that. CS, bro, opinions on Candy MC. Okay, that's a personal one. That's more like, okay, I was gonna give this guy 2K. I was gonna hire a YouTuber for him, and he hits me back up. He's like, I can't part with 50% of my server and just give it to you, even though you're putting in all that money. I was putting in more money than he put into the server, which is stupid. So, and then a week later, I see Projecty and some other fool, Cobra or something like that, on the owner list, and I'm like, wow, so you're gonna put these scamming, you know, shamming fags on there, but you gonna kick me out? That's cool, bro. Where should we go for investments? Don't come to me, bro. I hate you guys. Sorry. I'm done investing in people. Last person I invested in took my money. Yeah, I do think .org slot value went down a bit. I think Minecraft, realistically speaking, right now is kind of dead because of all the hurricanes and stuff. Not a lot of people are on. I know I've had like people that I've tried contacting for services say like, hey, I'm kind of hit by the hurricane, I can't talk right now. What went down with Hyteria? Hyteria was a server where a guy hit me up. He's like, hey, I want to buy a server from you. I know you own big servers. I was like, all right, what's your budget? And he's like, hey, I got 20K. His dad's like a millionaire or something like that. He owns big real estate companies. Just partner with me. So I was like, just use that money, we'll get like #1 on MCSL, we'll get like 300 players everywhere. We went through, everything was fine, and then all of a sudden he started having problems, he started acting weird, he started doing all this weird stuff. So I just told him, pay me my money and I'm leaving. So I just left. Don't try to compete with people if you know you can help them. So that's one of the reasons that Minecraft, when I first started it, Strive, is because people weren't like, oh, I'm gonna create a Minecraft copycat, I'm gonna join Minecraft and make it better. So that's something you guys need to think about. Instead of making your own and trying to make it better, which probably won't happen, I'm sorry, try to join them, try to make it better. Like, you see all these other resource chats, they're not going to get big, let's be honest. Or if they do, like, mine's had over 1,600 members. I've kicked, I want to say, over 1,000 of those people. MC Market copycats, like, sure, some of them get bigger than others, but they're never going to hit that full capacity of MC Market. Like, the first thing when you search up OG accounts, MC Market pops up. Like, there's OG Skypes and all that too, not just MC accounts. Yeah, but honestly, I think this was a good enough talk. The only thing I do ask for you guys is if you can invite more people. You know, I like it when more people join. I like it when they listen. Like, there's a lot to be said about this community. I think you guys know that too. I'm gonna dip out here, but yeah, just invite your friends, make this chat active, all that sort. I'll see you guys around.